So the number one thing I would suggest when you start to do this work with your partner is to talk about that. As you start to shift, you will see that people's responses start to shift as well.
Can you talk about how couples can practice the presence protocol together? A lot of couples are struggling to connect. And then the second question is, what if my partner doesn't want to do this work?
I just had this conversation today with one of our practitioners. You will find when you start to do this work, one of the first things you end up doing, which is a really hard thing to catch, especially in your couple relationship, because we're kind of used to pointing fingers, we start to go, oh, you're misaligned right now. Oh yeah, and I'm mad. You shouldn't be like that. You did that thing again, and I know that's not from alignment. And if you'd only get aligned, I'd be happy. This is what we do. I still do that once in a while. But this is what we do, and it's an easy one to miss, especially if it falls into a pattern of blaming, which over time, there's some of that pretty much in every couple relationship. So the number one thing I would suggest when you start to do this work with your partner is to talk about that and to acknowledge it and own up to it when you do it, once in a while or all the time or whatever, and start to create some dialogue around that, because it's going to happen. Recognize that misalignment in each other, in the individual, and then misalignment in the relationship and adaptations and patterns that have developed in the relationship is kind of a common problem in front of you. So I get aligned so that I can be better at addressing this problem. You get aligned so you can be better at addressing this problem. When we attack the other person for their misalignment, that's a pretty good indicator that we're not in alignment. And I'm not saying it's easy, because that's actually the hardest thing. The most challenging relationship I find is in the couple relationship, because it's pretty foundational to our sense of security, our sense of connection, our sense of belonging. We have a lot of natural attachment that may not be healthy. Not all of that's healthy in that couple relationship. And you're probably a ways down the road and you have to start unpacking some of that. And it's a bit of a challenge. So that would be my suggestion. Number one thing, recognize who you are is not the problem. Who I am is not the problem. We've brought adaptations that don't serve us anymore and don't make for the best relationship. We've brought those things into the relationship. There's some of that in our patterning. And this is the problem. Not you, not me. This is the problem. And even when somebody's got that thing they're doing again, you can develop some dialogue around that. My husband used to say, this is quite a few years ago, and we were starting to do this work and teach some of this work. And we kind of developed a dialogue around, I would go, oh, you just think I'm stupid right now. It didn't matter what he did. He could do nothing with that. He couldn't convince me that he didn't think I was stupid. He couldn't talk his way out of that. He couldn't bring me flowers and show his way out of that. I was determined because something was triggered. That's an old wound that I had. And there's nothing he could do. So we developed, like I said, some dialogue. And he used to go, you're doing that thing again. I'm not your dad. I'm not your dad. That's not what I think right now. And because we had preset some of these things, even when I was really activated, I could hear that because we talked about it quite a few times and kind of agreed. There are things that we agree to allow the other person to nag us about. I have ADD. I have a terrible time remembering to take certain things or do certain things at certain times. And we have like an open communication where it's like, yeah, nag me about that. And once in a while, if I have a reaction, it's like, okay, I'm sorry. That was me. That's on me. That's just my old shit coming up. That's not you. And thank you for nagging me and reminding me. And then we carry on. And it's not going to be perfect, but this can develop over time. And it's going to take some time to unwind some of that stuff. Now, doing the presence protocol together, I would suggest having this discussion first, that this is my commitment, this is my desire, not to attack you, to have this new understanding about how we became who we are and what we do, what our automatic reactions and adaptations are. We have a new understanding about that. We're going to approach life with this new understanding, and it kind of twists some things around, and it's going to take some time. So that's number one. Number two, we all have sovereign agency. Your partner has the absolute right to be misaligned. It will have consequences. You can choose what you want to choose around that. You may choose not to be around that person when they're in misalignment. I would approach it the best you can, approach it with an agreement. A few of these things, you're going to get through some fights and you're going to go, oh, next time, let's say this about it. Okay, so that's that first thing. Doing the presence protocol together. When we recognize that I'm doing it for me, and so that my desire is to get there, to be in that released, aligned state, so I can be better for me first and then for everyone else. And my partner is doing it for themselves so that they can be aligned for themselves first and then for everyone else that they impact. I can't expect my partner to do it for me, and I don't do it for them. I have made a commitment that this is how I want to live, and this is how I want my relationship to function, out of authenticity, out of alignment, out of accessing unconditional love, with the understanding it comes from that place first and then out to the other person. If I'm waiting for them to align so I can take from them or so that they can give me what I believe I need, I'm still in that self-protection mechanism, and it will never fill me up, and it will never solve that or soothe that or fix that. Like I said about my husband, there's nothing he could do when I was still in a misaligned state. There's nothing he could do to solve that or soothe that. But when I would release that, then I would be okay. Then I would have what I needed, and I could come back into the relationship with trust. And my trust isn't that that person is never going to hurt me. My trust is that I am whole and complete and healed when I'm in alignment and I have everything I need. And then I can flow that through without feeling depleted, without resentment, without keeping score. So doing the presence protocol together, if you're in a situation where you're just a little like this, take some space, be in a different area, just even a different place in the house. I'm just going to do some releasing, and then we'll come back and we'll talk and we'll see if things have changed. Some compassionate curiosity in this process is a really wise perspective to try to have. You can't necessarily conjure up that perspective. It will come if you release, but even knowing that that's kind of the goal, let's see what can shift. Let's see if we can end up seeing this differently or get a new solution to this old problem. Let's just see what can happen when we shift our state that's underneath everything and our understanding about those things. If I can acknowledge that you're a sovereign being and you don't owe me anything, that's a pretty different perspective to bring into a partnership. You don't owe me anything. So it's a big shift, it's a big change, but it's the little shifts in the moment as you're in the middle of a pattern. When you can shift your own inner state and that partner can manage to shift their own inner state, then what you start to shift in the patterns of the relationship, it's almost like another being. It's almost like the third person. That can be pretty interesting and pretty rewarding and pretty satisfying. In my core belief, I know that is the answer to having that supportive relationship that we desire, that partnership, and not feeling trapped in it and trapped by the expectation.